खुशनुमा पाओगे, ख्वाबों को तुम खुशनुमा पाओगे, आसमां से जन्नत उतर आएगा। इन ख्यालों में ऐसी है ताकत भरी, मोम पत्थर को कर दे वो कारीगरी, ये बना दे फरिश्ता ये हूर और परी, क्या गजब की है इनकी भी जादूगरी। इनसे सारे ज़माने की खिदमत करो, इनसे सारे ज़माने की खिदमत करो, खुद दुआओं से दामन सवर जाएगा, ख्यालों को यूं खूबसूरत करो। ख्याल कीमती है यूं न जाया करो, अश्कों को न बेवजह बहाया करो, मुंतजिर हो खुदा की फकत याद में, भूल करना किसका दिल दुखाया करो, मुश्किलें मिटा देगा वो मुश्किल गुज़ार, मुश्किलें मिटा देगा वो मुश्किल गुज़ार, रूह में वो ताकत।
Om Shanti, Sister Jayanti,
Om Shanti Aruna behn.
and welcome everyone. And today is a very special day. It's the lunar new year. So it's the year of the tiger, year of strength, year of bravery. So I don't know who's a tiger. Yeah, are you a tiger, Sister Jayanti? Are you a tiger year?
I'm a double bull,
Oh.
which means I was born in the year of the ox, but I'm also a Taurian. So determination.
Okay. Well, I'd like to just begin with the story. And I'm sure you've heard it, but I think it's very appropriate for this Murli. And the story is that a man was visiting a construction site. So he asked the first worker, he said, what are you doing? And this worker said, well, I come here to earn my living. I do my day's work and I get paid and I go home. Then he asked the second worker, he said, what are you doing? He said, well, this is a good opportunity for me to showcase my skills. I'm a good a bricklayer. And so I enjoy doing that. And then he asked the third worker, what are you doing? And he said, I'm building a temple, I'm building a church, whatever it was, I'm building a cathedral. And he said, many will come and meet God. Many will come to talk to God here. And so this story represents how when one really does with so much love, something that's more than just labor hard work, then that's the bhavna, that's the feeling they're putting into their work, and that's what people will pick up. And that's the idea of seva, right, Sister Jayanti, that you're doing it with so much love. Everything you do, you put love into it, that it doesn't feel like labor. So yeah, look forward to hearing you today. Lovely Murli. We will be revising last night's Murli, 31st Jan. And just actually, this comment comes up every time in the chat in different ways. If we could just really limit the chat on the chat box and leave just the translation issues. I know you like to say Om Shanti and good evening, but many have commented many times that it's very distracting. So yeah, let's focus on Sister Jayanti and what she has to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Aruna. Om Shanti. And greetings for Chinese New Year. If you happen to come from that background, I'm sure some of you are from that background. We had a lovely gathering in London this afternoon for the celebration. And a person who was visiting us said, do you celebrate all the festivals? And we said, many. And it's lovely to keep having celebrations and keep having new years and new beginnings. So Brahmin family and the time we have together in Sangam Yuga is absolutely unique out of the whole Kalpa. So yes, Baba was reminding us that we are carefree emperors. Just imagine, it's a beautiful expression that Baba used, Befikur Badsha. On the one side, the sovereignty, but on the other side, absolutely carefree. And so Baba was seeing us in that situation, being the carefree emperors. And of course, normally you'd say an emperor has so many worries, so many things to be concerned about. And here Baba's saying, you're the sovereign, but yet you're carefree. And then on the other side, Baba was asking us the question, well, what are the signs of being the carefree emperor? And Baba's response was, their faces will always be happy. There'll be a divine light that's shining in their forehead, and you'll see them light and easy because they're carefree. And if you don't have that awareness, that intoxication, Baba used two words, fikr, worry, and fakur, intoxication. And so if you don't have that intoxication of what Baba has given you and made you, then you're going to be carrying a basket of worry on your head. And of course, there's going to be all sorts of experiences of sorrow then. And so exchange the basket for the crown and just let the soul shine. And in Sangam Yuga, whatever you do now is laying the foundation for the future. And so Baba reminding us that today's stage is that which will carry you forward into the future. But also further on, Baba mentioned how every second of Sangam Yuga is so valuable because it creates your fortune for 21 births. And so that connection of half a cycle with a short time span of Sangam Yuga is so very, very important to remember. And Baba asked the question, can you get rid of all your worries and your burdens and your sorrows and just become completely carefree and be the emperors? And Baba said, it just takes one letter. And in Hindi, mera, mine, tera, yours. And so M and T. Just change that one letter, that's it. And while you think this is mine, fine, carry the burden, carry the load. But when you say, Baba, this is all yours, I'm not going to carry this anymore at all, then Baba takes responsibility for that and sorts it all out. But I just have to be very clear in my mind and not hang on to it, but really let go of it and let it belong to Baba and keep my consciousness high in the awareness of God's love. Otherwise, everything is a labor. But in the consciousness of God's love, the task might be the same, like you heard in the story. But the consciousness of love has changed it, and it's no labor at all. It's effortless. And then Baba also saying, well, what is the root cause of all worries and anxieties? And Baba said, it's waste thoughts. That's what it is. And the waste thoughts come from when and how and if and but and should and maybe, and all of these questions open up the door to anxiety and worry. And you don't need to have any of those. And then some children say, well, what can we do about it, Baba? It just happens, it comes. And Baba said, but that's because it's your mind and you're not giving it proper attention. Keep it occupied, keep it busy in the experience of God's love, in thinking about Baba's Murli, churning that. Let the soul experiment with all the different practices that Baba has taught us, the different drills, and whether it's the drill of becoming the three forms, the Brahman, the angel, the deity, whichever form it is you choose, whether it is just becoming bodiless, just becoming the angel, whichever it is you want to entertain yourself with and practice for yourself. Experiment with all these different ways in which Baba is teaching us to actually be able to have the mind light and easy and free. Then, of course, my attitude to everything also changes. If my mind is heavy and burdened, what is my attitude going to be like? So let me let go of the burden, keep my mind light and easy with thoughts of God's love, with thoughts of the beauty of this Brahman life or the angelic stage, whichever. And so practice all the things that Baba's been teaching you. And the mind will be so busy, there'll be no time for waste thoughts at all. So don't let a second of Sangam Yug go to waste. And just keep remembering, mine has become yours. And so then there's no burden, there's no sorrow. And then Baba was also reminding us that if you love someone, then you're going to listen to what they have to say, what they have to tell you. And so if you say you love Baba, then, and Baba makes everybody put up their hands, you can see how, although Baba would come say 7, and by then it's Murli from 2012, I think. So Baba's saying at that time, but if you love Baba, then how come you're not doing what Baba's asking you to do? Normally, if you love someone, then you follow what they have to say. And in this case, Baba kept asking them to raise their hands again and again and to reply. Baba was interacting with them. And so Murlis used to go on through till 10:30 at least, so 3-hour Murlis. And of course, now we don't hear all the things to the groups and so on and so forth. But Baba would entertain us in that way. Stand up, sit down, raise one hand, raise two hands. And so it was all a very entertaining experience actually being there with Baba. So in this case, Baba's saying, raise your hands. Who says they have love for Baba? And everybody raises their hands. And then Baba's saying, okay, before I tell you what I'm going to ask you, will you promise me that you're going to do it? And so total faith and trust, and everybody raises their hands. And Baba's question was, are you ready to give up your waste thoughts now? And it was the Murli of the end of the season. So that's April. And Baba was going to be coming back again in October. So Baba said, what you're going to do in that intervening span? You've got about 5-6 months. And the homework that Baba gave us at that time to eliminate waste thoughts completely, so that when next season begins, Nobody has any more waste thoughts. Baba really, really used to push us to make a commitment. And of course, then drama, some did, and some experienced the fruit and the result of that. Others tried it out, and maybe after a month or so, it wasn't as intense effort as was needed. And so here we are today, still carrying on, but of course, time has been ticking by very, very fast. And we see the state of the world today. Baba commented on that also, saying that some children say, Baba's been saying suddenly, suddenly for a long time. And Baba is saying, yes, it will be sudden, but you will have had the opportunity to prepare yourself for whatever is to come. From the moment that you start your preparation, then you know that that's the stage you're going to have at the end. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to happen. And so create that stage right now. And Baba's saying, make that effort in which truly mine becomes yours. And out of love for Bab Dada, why? Because you love to be with Baba. You want to be an angel to be with Brahma Baba, don't you? And you want to go home with Bab Dada. Isn't that right? Isn't this why you're here? Baba has come to take you home with himself. And so you don't want to get left behind. And so out of love for Baba and the pure desire of being with Baba, now make that effort. And then not only time to go home, but also time to come back again into the new kingdom with Brahma Baba. And so that also is something that you want. You always want to be with Brahma Baba. Well, make the effort so that then you can come down with him into that new kingdom. And angels don't have hands. So how are you going to hold Baba's hands? It's the hand of Srimat. And so the Srimat of this particular Murli, and of course for all time in Sangam Yug, the Srimat is very specific. Be the carefree emperor. And it contains this idea of claiming sovereignty. It contains this idea of that surrender of all my cares. It then allows me to maintain that intoxication. So within 2 words, Baba's saying, this is what I would want for you. I really want you to be the carefree emperor. Baba also mentioned very categorically, what is it that Baba has been underlining for you through the whole season? And it must have been through that whole period that Baba kept taking it up. Baba said that you have 2 very special treasures, the treasure of your thoughts and the treasure of time. Your thoughts slip away, you can't bring them back. Time slips out of your fingers, how are you going to retrieve it? It's not possible to turn the clock back. And so use these 2 treasures of yours very, very wisely, because every moment counts, every thought counts, and this is the time to create your fortune for 2,500 years, 21 births. And so Baba emphasizing that a lot. And then Baba's very interesting comment that so far, it's only been the Brahma Kumaris that have been glorified. True. Many, many now say that the work that the Brahma Kumaris are doing is excellent. It's very good. But when are you going to glorify the Father? They should come to the realization that the one who's made you so worthy is God himself. And so your faces, your words, your behavior, your interaction with each one should very clearly give that message that what you have become, what you are doing, is what God is inspiring you to do. And of course, then their attention is drawn to God so that God is revealed through revealing your own angelic stage. Baba also spoke about victory. and how Baba loves absolutely each and every single one of the children, right till the very end. Why? Because every child who says Baba, every child is a soul who has recognized Shiv Baba, even though Shiv Baba has come in such an incognito form. Sakar Baba's days, souls had to be able to see with the third eye and to understand with their mind who it is who's speaking. Avyakt Dada, again, you saw a human being, you saw a woman, and here is everybody calling her Baba, Dada, a little bit odd. But those who do recognize Baba, whether in the Sakar form or whether in the corporeal form of Avyakt Dada through Dadi Gulzar, well, they're the ones who've been able to recognize God behind the curtain, hidden away. And so for that recognition, that also Baba is saying is victory. And Baba gives them the return of that. But Baba is saying, don't give me the excuse that, well, it's only going to be 108 who have victory. You achieve victory and I'll create more strands of the garland, of the necklace. Yes, there's 108 beads, the main strand, but I can add on as many strands as all of you decide. Because if all of you decide to become victorious, that's many, many strands. So Baba is willing to do that. Baba is very accommodating and Baba is very encouraging. So Baba is saying, it's okay. I'll sort that out. You don't have to think about the numbers. You just make yourself complete and victorious and just come to that stage of absolute carefree emperor. And so different ways in which Baba was encouraging us to move forward and actually play that role of serving the world. Why Baba said the task you have to do over these 5-6 months is you have to make sure that your mind is so powerful that there's no waste thoughts. And then you can use your mind to do God's service of sharing peace and love and truth and purity with the souls who otherwise maybe wouldn't be able to wake up and recognize God. But you've shared a message, but now more than that, you should be able to send out those good vibrations. And this is that time period now. And that time is, I get the sense it's running out really fast. We saw Dadi Ratan Moini's health yesterday. We have one Dadi left, but even her health is not so good. And so it's another indication of time that yes, what Baba's saying, absolutely, we're on that edge, just a step away and it'll be time to go home. And so Baba reminding us that it's the season to be able to share those good vibrations with everyone. And of course, Baba spoke to the teachers. Baba always loves speaking to the teachers because they're the ones who have been given the gift of God's seat, God's Gaddi, to read the Murli. And Baba said, what do your features show? Do your features actually show that you are God's children? And do you maintain that intoxication? And are you able to reveal Baba through your face and every word that you speak and every experience that you have in your mind? Are you able just to let God work through you so that others are able to have a glimpse? And Baba wanted to speak to the Madhava Nivasis to give them thanks because obviously they've been serving through the whole season and it's been non-stop for them. The season started October and it's now April next year. So it's a long period. And you've seen how hard the Madhava Nivasis work. And so I was saying, whether you're sweeping the floor or whether you're cooking the food or serving the food, it's your fortune to be able to do this service in the yajna, the unlimited yajna of Madhuban, the sacrificial fire. Because whatever you do with love is creating that atmosphere of love and joy. Your faces are the ones that are going to reflect that love and joy. And so through your face, through the things that you're doing, just keep that consciousness in the awareness of the fortune of service in Madhuban. And if you do that, then whoever comes carries away that experience of the loving atmosphere of Madhuban. And so they're then going to be able to come close to Baba through that. Baba spoke to the double foreigners. And yes, Baba used to comment that foreigners are there every turn in a season. And that's because Daddy Kumarika was inviting us. She gave us permission to come. Not everyone to come every turn, but for everyone to come at least in each of the turns, whichever was suitable for them. And so she encouraged us a lot in that. So people would choose the weather, they would choose their work time, whatever it was. But so every turn that Baba came, there would be a group of double foreigners. And Baba gave us big homework. Baba said, well, you're remembered as the double foreigners, but are you making that double effort? Are you making that intense effort to be able to move forward and reach that goal of being Avyakt and Karmatit yourselves? Baba also spoke to the people from Delhi and Agra. And the most interesting thing Baba said was, have a big heart, because all these souls, whoever becomes a Brahmin, at some point is going to land up in Delhi. And if Brahma Baba were to leave and take on the form of Krishna, then where else would he come? He would surely come to Delhi also. That's the memorial place by the river Jamuna. And so Baba really encouraging Delhi to serve the ministries, and having served them, they should be able to say that what these people are saying is actually right, and we should be listening to them. So many instructions for service in this also, but especially that theme, carefree emperor, and the method to become that, just simply mera kutera, mine becomes yours. And it's a reality. What did we bring with us when we came as babies into this world? We didn't have anything. We just had our skin. We had our birthday suit. That's it. And so now at this moment, handing over everything to Baba so that Baba can take care of it. And I know there's that tension between being responsible and just handing over. But yes, let me fulfill my responsibilities, but yet not worry about it. Let me leave the worry to God. So a very intoxicating Murli about being the ones who are the carefree emperors with a sparkling face, a sparkling forehead through which the divine light shines. Om Shanti.
Well, I'm glad you ended with that, Sister Jayanti, because if I may just share quickly this story that Asha Ben shared this morning in the Bhatti class in Pandav Bhavan. It was in Hindi, so I'm sure the English class will appreciate it. And I'm not sure I agree, so that's why I'm going to preface the question with this story. And the story is that, so there was a man who decided to invite some people over for lunch. And they came over and they noticed that, there's no food and there's no noise in the kitchen. So they inquired, they said, is the food coming? He said, yes, God will provide, God will provide. And time is passing and somebody says, well, shall we go and shop for some food? Shall we go start cooking? He said, no, God will provide, God will provide. And eventually God sitting up there is listening and he's thinking, well, this guy has a lot of faith in me, and if I don't go down and make sure there's food, then they're not going to have faith in me anymore. And so literally God inspired somebody or the other. They got the veggies, somebody started cooking. And at the end, they said, oh, thank you so much. And he said, well, thank God. And so, Jayanti, I mean, there are people who, leave things to God. I know you just at the end, right at the end, you said, yes, we fulfill our responsibilities, but we don't worry. But sometimes I feel we have to also instigate and put into action. And I don't know, I'm not sure I agree completely. I know I have to make that effort. But again, some more tips on this, please, of how to stay detached.
Here's how things happen. I have a thought, and say, for example, I'm inviting people to lunch. Let's just take up that same story. And I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it. I have to do this. I have to do this. And the net result of that anxiety and worry is that I'm scrambling. I'm not using my time properly. I haven't planned properly. I haven't done the shopping. I haven't got my helpers. Everything could have happened very smoothly and easily if I had just given it a little bit of attention and taken everybody's love and support and cooperation, and lunch would be ready, whether it's for 100 or it's for 10. But it just needs that attention and awareness of my responsibility. But if I think God is going to do it himself, nothing would happen. And in bhakti, God might say, okay, let me send somebody to do the work. But on the path of Gyan, it's been my thought. I've invited people. And so let me put in that little attention that's required at the beginning to settle things, sort things out. If I'm going to do the cooking, great. But I make sure that I do it before my guests arrive so that I can even offer bhog, etc., etc. But worry is a waste of time and energy. It doesn't do the cooking. It doesn't do the shopping. It doesn't do anything. It's just draining me of energy. And some people, they'll say, how many people are coming? How many people are coming? And what are they going to do? They're just going to make a cup of tea and some biscuits. And the biscuits also probably are from a packet. And so, but they're worried. People are coming, people are coming. And so there's a big difference between that and saying, yes, of course, please come, most welcome, and getting things ready. And then I can be free and Baba can be there to just shine through my eyes, through my face. If last minute I'm scrambling around because I haven't done the preparations and I haven't invoked Baba and said, Baba, I want you to be here, then my face will be hot and flustered, and certainly they won't see God in my eyes. And I'll just be concerned and worried. Maybe I've left something on the pot and it's burning and I've gone to do something else. So everything gets a mess. But I have a thought. And if it's the right thought, the right cooperation and support will be available. If it's the right motive also, the right thought, the right motive, then everything works out. And before the guests arrive, we're ready. And we're there to welcome them with love in Baba's remembrance, not hot and flustered and anxious. Make sense?
Yes, gentlemen. And there's a saying in the Arab world, actually, that you tie your camel first and then you leave it to God.
Yes.
So in other words, yeah, you do. But also what I feel I'm picking up from you is just a very calm demeanor, like just to stay in your shanti and to stay focused on the one and to trust Baba, trust Rama. I think it's all of those things.
It is. I mustn't worry about, are they going to like it? Is it going to be okay? What's going to happen? Are they going to comment? Are they going to... I don't need to do that. I need to cook with love for Baba peacefully, offer it peacefully, even if it's basic and simple. But if I've done it with love, it'll carry that flavor that money can't buy. And whoever comes is going to enjoy it, and they'll ask you, what did you put in it? And you'll tell them of your secret ingredient of God's love.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. And then a discussion we were having here in the house, this question about muhabbat, mehnat and muhabbat, which is labor and love. And of course, gentlemen, we don't want to labor. And as Baba said, we all have unlimited love for Baba. I think even in this group, if you ask everyone, everybody has so much love for Baba. But I think it's just our natural sanskar to want to feel that we're doing something. And it takes us over, you know? So how to become free from this sanskar of feeling that you have to do, and you can just be. I mean, I know all these things are, okay, trust and this and that, but we want your experiences as to how you do it.
I'll give you another story, and it's an ancient story that some of you have heard. But when I was asked by Brahman Baba to give a lecture, the brother in charge of the center, this is way back in 1968, October 1968. I'd just been living in the center for 2 weeks, and Sakar Baba's letter comes that you have to give a lecture. And I say yes. And then Mahendra Bhai, in charge of that center, says to me, have you given lectures before? I say no. And he said, well, how are you going to give this lecture? I said, I'll remember Baba and Baba will help. And he said, shall I tell you what's going to happen? You'll remember Baba, but you haven't prepared. And so you'll open your mouth and nothing will come out. And it was such a realistic scenario that I thought, that's very possible. Yes, it's very possible that I'll open my mouth and I'll be so scared that nothing will come out. And then he told me, prepare. And first preparation, first trial, he says, no beginning, no middle, no end. Go back and try again. Second one, and he says, well, this has nothing about God or soul or time. Every BK lecture should talk about these 3 things, definitely. Try again, and then it's okay. And he says, how many minutes is this? I say 20 minutes. He says, no, it's 10 minutes because you'll forget half of it anyway. And so you have to go back and write again. And so that preparation and training is brilliant. Let me do the work I need to do, but beforehand. And then I'm free to remember Baba, and Baba's energy can flow through me. And of course, at this point, I wouldn't necessarily have to try writing 4 times. I would just maybe, if it's a very new subject, I'd maybe scribble a few points. But for the first few years, that training really, really stood me in good stead. And I recommend it to everybody, write and prepare. And so this is just about lectures or cooking. But say, for example, you're thinking about a big program. Well, bring together people who had that experience. So if you're all new and nobody's had that experience, we'll talk together and discuss what do we need to happen and how are we going to do it? Who's going to do what? So however much preparation with love, that's not labor, but it's just clear thinking. And so you've done that preparation with love. Each one knows what they're supposed to do. And each one is doing it with love for Baba. And a beautiful program happens. And it can be very simple, but the vibrations will be right. Baba's presence will be felt. And so in all situations, no worry, no anxiety, but prepare so that then things are in place. Yeah.
Yes, Sister Jayanti. Actually, I don't know if you remember, but many years ago, maybe late 80s, early 90s, Brother Nick asked me to do a talk for the intensive. And those days I was just in the office working and no talks, no classes, no lectures. And he asked me to do a talk for half an hour. And I went and I started and I finished in like 10, 15 minutes. I said, "Oh, Shanti." And then I came back to you in the office and you asked me how it went. And I said, "Yeah, well, it finished early." And then you said exactly that to me. You said, "Well, you have to prepare." And I've never forgotten that either, that you have to prepare. So it's gone a full circle. Okay, Genuine, what do you understand by unbroken love? Because Baba said that quite a few times. Atut, pyar, unbroken love.
Yeah. That relationship with Baba of love and faith should be continuous, so that then it's not that you have doubts and you say, well, why am I here? What am I doing? I'm wasting my time. It happens, but if these thoughts come, do the opposite, write affirmations of why you are here. What is the benefit you've had? What is it that you felt that Baba has given you? Because the mind can flick from one side to another side very, very quickly. And the buddhi also can be shaken by influence and company. And so let me be very clear about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and why I'm with Baba. And to keep that alive. And this is why everyday meditation, everyday Murli is so important, to clean the buddhi out of all the other influences that we may have been exposed to before. And so keep that love and faith in Baba consistent. And of course, the other big thing is that we get distracted by people and we get attached to them. And so today it's this one, tomorrow it's this one, then it's another one. And it's not that they're wonderful people, they're good people, but it's my habit of getting distracted and getting pulled towards them. And of course, I'm realizing that I've said to Baba, I belong to you. But at that moment when there's this distraction, then I forget. And so Baba's reminding me, don't get distracted, stay very clean, very pure, very committed, loyal and faithful to Baba. That is unbroken love. And if in the past things have happened and there has been a mixture, there's been adulteration, whatever it has been, okay, now at this moment, let me keep that thread of love absolutely unbroken.
Yeah, I don't know, tonight you're cutting slightly, gentlemen. Anyway, I'll move to the next question. So, gentlemen, once I'd asked Dadi Janki, what is the difference between a rich subject and a king? And Dadi had said that the king has excelled in all the four subjects, whereas the rich subject in Golden Age has excelled in only one subject, for example, seva or whatever, gyan, whatever yoga. So today somebody's asking, what is the difference between the rich subject and the elevated servant of the royal court?
In fact, there was a recent Murli, I think last week, a Sakar Murli, in which Baba was very, very explicit, because Baba said that even though the servant may be part inside within the royal palace, but still the term would come servant. So elevated servant, I'm sure there's a discrepancy there somewhere. And the subject, rich, donation, lots of gyan, lots of service maybe, but not that surrender totally to God. And so still a subject, but yes, good in many different things. But in the case of the servant, the soul has surrendered to Baba, but yet still not managed to conquer all the negativity, all the vices, and has been failing in some aspect or another, whether it's lack of yoga, whether it's lack of purity, whatever it may be, but there's something missing within the effort of that individual. And so, or even I would say mistakes have been made by that individual. And so it was interesting to hear Baba spell it out so clearly the other day.
Thank you so much. And somebody question, how do we accumulate in service? And sometimes, gentlemen, you know, people think that if we ask them to do something physical, then we're just getting the work done. But there's something about claiming blessings and accumulating. What is that?
Right. If I keep in my awareness that I want to use my time, my thoughts, my energy for Baba, then the door will open, the opportunity will come, and there'll be something or another that I can do, whether it's just sitting at home writing blessings. Many people tell me that that's what they do for Baba because we use hundreds of blessings all the time. Or maybe they're actually doing physical work, cleaning, and on one level, nobody enjoys cleaning, but yet when you're cleaning for Baba and you're doing it for Baba, and today Baba explained it in the Murli yesterday, that you're creating that atmosphere so that whoever comes to Baba's house, now Madhuban is Madhuban, but any center, whoever comes to Baba's house is able to feel that cleanliness physically and spiritually, and through that be able to come to God. And so I'm going to receive blessings from Baba, but also the souls who have been served. Cooking, again, cook with love. And there's such a big difference between something that's been thrown together because I suppose I have to make these sandwiches because I need to, or actually doing something with love and offering it to Baba with love and then sharing it with love. And so many, many blessings again through that also. How many people have come closer to Baba through Toli? How many people have come closer to Baba because you gave them a hot meal at a time when they needed it? So whatever it is I do in Baba's home, I earn blessings. If my consciousness is that I'm doing it for Baba. If my consciousness is, oh, the sister has asked me to do it, so I better do it. I'd better stay in her good books. Well, I'm not sure how many blessings that's going to bring. Yes, okay. Daddy had actually explained it very well at one point. She'd said, here's somebody who's doing a task in Baba's house, but they're not really doing it with that love. Well, Baba has to give them a salary for it. And so they get a salary, they get something in return. But the person who's doing the same job with love for Baba, and they're doing it with those feelings of love and bhavna for Baba, Baba is going to not just give them a salary, but Baba is going to shower them with blessings and happiness. And so the return that they receive now, never mind in the future, this person does it, and yes, okay, fine, they're going to get something, but they don't have that happiness or power or blessings. And the other one, they're living on blessings. They experience the joy, they experience the benefit instantly.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And, you know, gentlemen, when I met Sister Chen of China last year, or the year before, I guess, and she was reminding me, she said, that time, 17 years ago, Jasu Ben made her a sandwich when she was heading to the airport. And she never forgot that sandwich. So even, 17 years later, you're still getting blessings. That's my point.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And there was another question here. Yes, gentlemen, what is somebody's question? What is the difference between Sato, Rajo, and Tamo effort?
Sato effort is according to what Baba wants me to do, Srimad, in that awareness on that level. Rajo is where there's laziness and carelessness that gets mixed in. Okay, I should get up at 4 o'clock, but today I'm very tired, so it's okay. Baba will forgive me. I won't get up today. I'll definitely get up tomorrow. Or the alarm goes and I say, oh, I just need another 15 minutes more. And then, of course, I'm going to be late. And so that's Rajo, where there's carelessness, laziness, and a bit of a mixture that's coming. I'm making effort, but not of the quality that's according to Srimad. And then Tamo, I think I'm making effort, but I'm doing it just simply as a sense of duty. I suppose I should go to class. I suppose I should do something in Baba's house. And so that sense of obligation, not really because I want to study, because I feel the benefit of hearing Baba's Murli every day. And so it's superficial, it's namesake. And so the return of it is going to be accordingly. I'm not going to feel the attainments. I'm not going to feel the power. I'm not going to feel the blessings. Everything is available from Baba now in Sangam Yug. Reach for the stars, reach for beyond the stars, and you can be a star. But I'm not taking from Baba because of various leakages. Baba spoke about that a few weeks ago. And I'm not realizing that my lack of attainment is not because Baba's not giving me or I don't have the opportunity, but it's because I'm not availing myself of that opportunity. I'm letting whatever it is I've taken drain away. And so I'm left with that sense of emptiness. And so very important to make sure that if I get to that stage where I feel as if I'm empty and I haven't taken much from Baba, well, to ask the question, why? What is it that's happening? And if I can track back whatever is going on in my life, I'll be able to see where it is I was making effort that was subtle and things were very fine, but today I'm not. Because I'm sure nobody stays Tamo all the time. There have been periods when there has been good effort and there has been the sense of attainment. This is why you're still there, you haven't left, because you do remember that there has been attainment, but Tamo effort today, and I'm being drained even of what I had accumulated. And so let me be very careful. And so let me make sure that I stay full and content. And in that stage of Tamo, of course, there's going to be discontent and blame and complain. But I'm not realizing it's me. It's not somebody else. And it's not that Baba's being discriminatory. It's me.
Yeah, very nice. Next question. Gentlemen, somebody's asking that Brahma Baba was told that he has his perfect form in the Sato region. So, and that there was a difference between that perfect form and him. So does this only apply to victorious jewels or does that apply to all of us?
I think now, I haven't heard it categorically in this Murli or that Murli, but I think all Brahman souls have their perfect form in the subtle region, which is why when we hear Baba's Murli, Baba says, slip off this gross costume and put on your sparkling dress. So Baba isn't talking to just 108, Baba's talking to the entire Brahman clan. And so that makes me feel that there is that sparkling costume, that costume of light, of perfection for every Brahmin. And so what I need to do is to be here and not get stuck into my sanskars so that it's difficult for me to let go of this, but to be here, be away from, detached from this physical costume, and then adopt my costume of light.
Right, thank you. Regarding the karma question, I think maybe Gentleman's taken up this many times, so maybe you can listen to past ones. And maybe, gentlemen, in one line, somebody's asking about Sakash. I know, again, you've shared that, but maybe just a good reminder how to give Sakash.
I keep Baba in front of me and let Baba's light and might reach wherever it's meant to reach. And just hold that person or place or individual for a moment. And then you don't have to remember it any further, but Baba's light and might will reach there and will continue. But you just stay connected with Baba and the thought of that light and might reaching the world.
Okay, and maybe we just address this question. So somebody tries to silence their mind, but then they end up making it blank. And they've heard that it's not good to blank the mind. And now he doesn't know how to silence his mind.
It's definitely not good just to make the mind go blank, because then you're exposed to all the vibrations and whatever is floating around, and you're capturing that and it's impacting you. And so what we need to do is to use the mind in a very constructive way. And so today Baba said, experience Baba's love, practice the drill, the different drills that Baba has given us, go through the 3 worlds drill, experiment with the Brahman, the angelic form, and the deity form stage. Practice all of these things. And as you do that, your mind is gradually becoming quiet and you're connected with Shiv Baba. And then you're experiencing what Shiv Baba wants to give you. And so at no point is the mind blank. But yes, there is a point where the mind is very quiet and still, but it's in Baba's presence. And so Baba's protection means that nothing else can influence you at that time. And so use the mind in a very natural way based on Gyan, something that Baba has said in the Murli, reflect on that, or use any aspect of Gyan that you enjoy and keep Baba in front.
Right, thank you so much, gentlemen. That was another rich session. And I think we're back to normal next Monday, revision. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Let's have a lovely meditation.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Goodbye.